Hello, my name is Aaron and welcome to my YouTube channel if you've not been here before. Today we're going to be doing a full walkthrough of the song Talk by Hozier. The first and possibly most important thing you need to know about this song is that you've got to be in standard tuning a whole step down. So what does that sound like? It sounds like D, G, C, F, A, D. I'm going to give you those strings now as a reference so you can tune to me if you need to. So we've got D, G, C, F, A, and last of all, D again. So it's the same as standard tuning, but everything's just 2 semitones lower, 2 frets lower. This means you can play along with everything in the original song and everything in this tutorial. Once you actually know the song, you can just play it in standard tuning if you want to. You don't have to play to the recording, of course. You should also know that at this point I've got a few other Hozier tutorials on this channel, so you may also want to check those out. And all I ask is that if you find this video useful, hit the like button for me so it gets shown to more people, and then more people get to play this awesome tune. So without further ado, let's get zoomed in. So just a quick important reminder before we begin, I'm going to be referring to the strings by their new names because we're in a different tuning, okay? I know that sounds kind of obvious, but it's easy to miss. So when I'm saying D, I'm meaning the low D here or the high D here. An easy way to remember those strings might just be D, G, C, Fad. That might help you remember. D, G, C, Fad. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with the intro, of course. So one important facet of the way he plays this riff is that it's kind of partially palm muted. So it isn't an open sound like this. It's not like... All right? There's a little bit of muting going on with the right hand, so you're going to have to find a careful balance to get the sound that he gets. So the very first note, we've got that open D string, and it's partially palm muted, and it sounds like this. Then we go to the second fret of the C string with the second finger. Then we go 0, 1, 2 on that C string. Open. First finger on the first fret. Second finger on the second fret. Nice and simple. Then it's an open F string. Then we go back to the C string and we do 2 pull off to open. So slowly that first bar should sound like this. We get to the next bar. And we're going to take the third finger to the third fret of the G string. And we're going to do 2 in a row, but the second one we're going to slide. Like this. It's quite a whimsical slide. You don't have to care too much about where you end up. Hozier kind of has this relaxed way of approaching the guitar. So then after that, we play the open D string. And then for the next note, we're aiming for the second fret of that G string, but there is a very quick open string before it, and that's known as a grace note. So you're going to hammer on with your second finger to the second, so it will sound like this. It's very, very quick. It's not this. There are not 2 distinct notes. It's almost like you've got one note with another note squeezed just before it. And the one that you're aiming for is the second fret of that G string. Then we go to the C string and we play the open string, then we hammer onto the second fret, and then we pull off to the open string again as a triplet. And after we've done that triplet, we hit the open G string. So that second bar played slowly goes like this. And we're into our third bar. We take the third finger to the third fret of that low D string. And then we do that same note again. But then we drop the third finger to the G string at the third fret. And then we do that same fret again, but slide down. Again, don't worry too much about the slide. I'm making it perfect. So that bar, slowly. And then finally, the final bar of our riff, the most difficult bar, we're going to start with open 1, 2 on that G string, and we're going to use fingers 1 and 2 on the 1st and 2nd fret like this. Then we've got that grace note thing happening again, just like we had in bar 2, but this time it's on the G string. So you're aiming for the 2nd, but this time it's on the C string. So you're aiming for the 2nd fret, but you've got one open string squeezed in just before it, so you're going to hammer on. Then we've got an open low D. Then we've got another triplet like we had in bar 2, but this time it's going to be on the F string. So we're going to hit the open F string, hammer onto the 2nd, and then pull off back to the open. Then we go to the C string, and we do 2 pull off to open. Tricky little movement if you've not done that kind of thing before. So that bar slowly is... So now that we've covered the riff, let's just play the whole thing slowly in its entirety. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that riff goes round twice for the intro. Now, what's great at this point is that when we get to our verse at 24 seconds, he's just playing the riff over and over and over. Once we've done our verse goes around 3 times, but then we get a variation on the 4th time. So the 4th time variation takes us into the chorus, and that variation is at 1 minute 3 seconds. So we've already done this bit, but we'll go through it again. So we've got the open D. Then we've got the 2nd fret of the C string, 2nd finger. Then we've got our 0, 1, 2 on that same string. Open F string. And then 2 pull off open on the C string. And then we've got those 2 3s with the slide. Open D string. But then we're going to take our pinky up to the 8th of our low D string. And we're going to then go to the 7th with the 3rd finger. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and you slide. Okay. So I'll play that variation very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okie dokie. Then at 1 minute 11, we get to our chorus. So just looking at the chord names at this point, don't forget we're in a different tuning, so don't let that throw you, because obviously that D5 would normally be an E5, the B flat 5 would normally be a C5, etc. If that's something that you're used to. So we're going to start off with a D5 power chord. So we just bring our 1st finger to the 2nd fret of that G string, and then we pluck the low D and the G string together. Okay, then we've got a B flat 5 power chord, so we bring the 1st finger to the 3rd of that G string and then the pinky to the 5th of the C string, and we pluck the G and C strings together. And we take that same shape with those 2 fingers and we just move them up towards the ceiling, so we're now on the low D and the G strings, and that gives us the F5 power chord. And then we take that same shape up 2 frets, so we can just go 1, 2. And that gives us the G5 power chord, and we hit the same 2 strings again. So those 2 bars, slowly as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get to a slightly tricky part. We've got a power chord and a G5 power chord. We've already learned this one. And then we go to the F5 power chord. And then here we're going to slide from the G5 power chord, but we've got to be careful about where we put the F5 power chord. So we're sort of sliding into it, but then also picking it at the same time. Okay. So I'm down picking that G5, then I'm sliding, I'm up picking the F5, and then I'm down picking the D5. So down pick, slide, up pick, and then down pick. A little bit tricky, that one. And then we have the run at the end, and it's just 0, 1, 2 on the G string, first and second fingers, as we've done throughout the whole song. Followed by that grace note, this time on the C string. Then we go into the next 4 bars, and 3.5 of them are exactly the same. So our power chords are identical. And then the first half of bar 19 is the same as bar 15, but we have a low D string afterwards. Nice and easy. And of course, we have that run. So how do we do that run? Well, it's lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs. So we've got the first finger on the 2nd fret of the F string, and we hammer onto the 4th, and then pull off back to the 2nd. And then we pull off again to the open F string. It's all one movement. You pick once, and then it's all in the fretting hand from that point. And then once you've done that, you use that first finger on the C string to pull off from the 2nd to the open. So altogether you get... So let's just do one run through of the whole chorus so we can hear how it sounds nice and slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Alrighty, so some parts of that are a bit difficult to count to. Alright, basically everything you've just played goes around twice, and that'll give you the whole song. There is one more thing left, and that is of course guitar 2. We have those bits that are panned in the right channel, so if you put your headphones on you'll hear this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so what have we got? We're starting with a B flat with a D in the bass. So we're going to have our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the C string. Then we have an open F string. Then we have our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the A string. And then we've got an open high D. And the way he plays these is he rakes them. He doesn't just go, he does it quite slowly and deliberately. So you can hear the strings nicely separated. And then to get the next chord, which is a D minor, we just take off the 1st finger and play the same strings again. 1. And then we've got this F major 1st inversion chord here. So we're going to bar the 2 highest strings, which are the A and the D at the 3rd fret. And we bring the 2nd finger up to the 4th of the F string. And those 3 notes. And then from there, we take the 3rd finger to the 3rd of the F string, and the pinky goes underneath it on the A string. And that gives us a B flat major, a 3rd interval there. And we've got to go from one to the other. So, guitar 2 all together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slide at the end there. And that there are all the parts of Talk by Hozier. If you enjoyed this tutorial, show your support by hitting the like button so more people get to learn this cool song and my video gets shown to more people. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Bye.